Sup nerds, I'm Wes from W Newberry Gaming, and today we are talking about Almanac Crystal Peaks coming to Kickstarter from Colossal Games. As always with previews, this is a prototype, which means that not everything here is finalized. Although most of the artwork is pretty dang final, I would think. I almost wouldn't be able to tell this from Almanac Dragon Road, which was the first version of this game to come out, except for the fact that the meeples and the dice are definitely prototypes. So artwork, pretty close to there. Meeples, not quite. Also, Tom already did a review of Almanac Dragon Road, so if you want more information on that game, or if you want to hear kind of Tom's thoughts about this game, click on the card and go over and check that out. But what Almanac is it really is like an intro plus worker placement game. And at its core mechanics, it is a very straightforward, you put your people out on the board, you gain resources from those things, and then you are trying to use those resources to complete objectives or complete like a certain sequence of resources to get victory points. The thing that makes it really cool is that the first round of every game is exactly the same. You start at the beginning of this book, and you turn to page 1, and you're in Trader's Village. And now this book is actually your game board. So you play Trader's Village. It has some unique rules to it, and every game starts off here. But when you get to the end of that first round, so all of your workers are onto the board, then you get to pick if you want to go to Cliffside or Flow Lake. Flow Lake page 2, Cliffside page 3. So it's literally a choose your own adventure game where every page is a different board with slightly different rules. Now again, it's still pretty straightforward worker placement at its heart, but a lot of times there's unique placement rules, or there's something unique about the board, or there's extra ways to get victory points here. So slightly different strategies on every single page, and you play through a total of 6 rounds. And again, it's very much a choose-your-own adventure game as you weave your way through the book to all the different places that you're going. And as you're working your way through the book, you are expanding your caravan so you can carry more resources at once. You're gaining new workers so you can do more during each round. You're getting new objectives to accomplish, all while trying to get the most victory points at the end of the game. And thematically, you're all traders on like a caravan, and so you want to be the wealthiest worker. So you add up your money and your victory points from completing the contracts, which are like the goals of, you need to have 3 yellows and 2 blues to complete this contract. And you add those up, and that's how you get the winner. So that at its heart is like 95% of how the game works, minus the variations from page to page of the book. The other thing that makes it slightly different, and this is actually one of my favorite things about this game, is first player goes to a bid, and all of your money is kept secret behind this player screen. So players all secretly gather the money that they want to bid for first player. They put their hands in, and they reveal, and whoever bid the most money is the winner. But what makes it really cool is they only have to pay as much as the smallest bid on the table. So if I bid 30 and Ray bids 1, I won, but I still only have to pay 1 coin. And why I like that so much is because, one, it really incentivizes everybody to be part of that bid. Even if you have no desire to be first player, you still need to put as much money as possible without winning. So that way the winner has to spend a bunch of money, because you don't want the person who's got a ton of money and they just, I know I'm going to win because I've got so much money. You want them to spend as much as possible. But they can also get a little bit tricky with you, because if they know I've got 50 money and they each have 4 money. Hypothetically, I could make it look like I'm going all in with just a huge bet to know I win, but then I only bid like 4. So I could hypothetically lose that bet and make them pay out their money. So there's a little bit of mind games that can happen there, and it's a very clever way to bid, in my opinion, and keep everyone really involved. Now, other than just being the first player, the person who wins that bid also gets to pick which direction on the fork they're going. And like thematically it's fun just because, you know, do you want to go to Brothers Coliseum or do you want to go to Sisters Port? You get to decide. And there's some flavor text in here, but also on the choice, they've got a little like graph that shows which resource is the most plentiful and which resource is going to sell for the most money. And it's an inverse. So whichever resource there's the most of, it's going to sell for the least money and so on, which could be really important depending on where you are. Because again, money is victory points at the end of the game. So if you get just a ton of greens and then you go somewhere where greens sell for 7 each, of course that's way more beneficial than going somewhere where greens sell for only 3 gold each. And then the last thing that you get to do as the winner is you get to have the actual encounter of the game. So between every page you have an encounter when you're going to build a unique encounter deck game to game. Typically that has to do with dice rolling. Sometimes it involves the whole table. Sometimes it just involves the first player. Sometimes each person like takes a turn with it individually. It's nothing that really like makes or breaks the game. It's not like you were winning and then the encounter came up and now you're in last place. But it does add a little spice and variety to the game. It gives you a little something extra to do besides just the worker placement. And it definitely helps with kind of that narrative feel because there's a lot of flavor text that you read through to see what decision to make. So me being someone who really appreciates flavor text, I kind of like, I appreciate the story that's told throughout the book because every page also has flavor text on it. So that is one thing that I really do appreciate about that encounter deck. And guys, really that is Almanac. You play through a series of 6 mini worker placement games, and whoever has the most victory points, the most money at the end is the winner. Now, I guess the main thing that changes game to game in this, or I guess round to round rather, in this book is mostly the placement rules. Although there is some, like, some places you go, there's a sickness and a disease ravaging that you have to go, and like, if you get close to somebody who's sick, you may get sick as well, and you have to go to a doctor and treat it. Some places have really cool placement rules, like, I guess this one is all dark, and so you have to play within 2 spaces of the person who played last, so you kind of cluster together. One of them, the vineyard, this one, it's all rows and columns, and you can never go on the same row or column that you've already been to, so you have to be really strategic as to where you put your people out on the board. There's an ice one where you actually have all these little islands out in the middle of the water, and there's an iceberg floating around, and you can only go somewhere where the iceberg is adjacent to, and if you use that iceberg, it moves. So again, really easy to catch on to rules, but it does keep it really fresh game to game. Also, because you play through a series of 6 rounds, and this book has, what is it, 19 scenarios in it, so you're not going to necessarily play the same scenarios every time. Now, you may have some crossover depending on which choices that you make, but for the most part, most games are going to be fairly unique, and you do get that excitement of like, where are we going to go next? What is this place like? And I think it really does do a good job keeping everyone's attention game to game, because there's never too long on one board, and even if a single board isn't your favorite, like again, it's only 1 round there, and then you move on to the next thing. And that's Almanac Crystal Peaks. Again, Tom covered Almanac Dragon Road on this channel. I'll make sure there's a link down in the description box where you can watch his thoughts on it to hear another person's views on Almanac. This game does, again, give you a whole new Almanac book. It gives you new encounter cards or slightly different artwork. So if you already have Almanac Dragon Road and you absolutely love it, now's your chance to get even more variety and more uniqueness to the world of Almanac. If you're interested in picking this game up, I will put a link to the Kickstarter campaign down in the description box below. Or if you're already watching this on Kickstarter, there's going to be a big green back button somewhere above me, like not like here, but like way up on the page. You can go ahead and click that and back this awesome game. But whatever you do, make sure you end up back on our YouTube channel again so that you can click on the link to Game Toppers. And if you're wondering Why should I click on the link to Game Toppers? It's because they're awesome. This is a Game Topper. It's what I play all of my games on. They also happen to sponsor our channel, which we are very appreciative for. But legitimately, absolutely love my Game Topper. You can swap out the playmat that you play on. This one's red. This one's blue. There's little grooves in the side to hold your cards for you if you're not someone who wants to be bothered holding on to your cards. There's cup holders that clip onto the side. There's dice towers, all kinds of awesomeness. And if you are looking for a board game table to upgrade your gaming experience, now is the time to look at Game Toppers. Either way, guys, make sure you subscribe to our channel so you'll never be bored.